Hi everyone, I am the creator of Chess Tools. I made this all by myself. Here I will show you just a quick demo of how the game works and what the features are. So play mode, you can play different variants. As your standard, you can have the default engine. So if you want, you can use an external engine. You basically just go to settings. So you go to settings here and you can put in your own custom engine. Here I'll just play against the default. So I have various levels of 1 to 8. I'll just play at level 1 just to show you. So it does have an opening book, so it won't play the same moves every time. Level 1 isn't very challenging though, because it will basically just give away its queen as soon as book ends, like this. Of course, when you finish the game, you can export the PGN, or you can review the game, which I'll show you now. Alright, so that's checkmate. So we go to review game, right? And then we can review the game here, and it will go through all the moves and look for mistakes. Obviously, it probably won't find mistakes for me, it will find mistakes for the AI itself. And it has a graph on the left showing the score. And here we can go to knight queen takes, obviously, is a mistake. And here g6 is another mistake. You can also you can have it show the moves. So it will show the moves. If you import your own engine, you can also put that on. You can import your own engine and have that run, and it will show you like this. Then you can review the game with a custom engine as well. The reviewing the game with the custom engine as well, basically almost the same score graph. It's fairly simple. Okay, so this is the analysis board. You get to the analysis board by going to play and then analysis board here. You can also do it by clicking review game at the end. But you can set up your own position if you want. So you basically select the piece and then you right click for white. You right click for black, left click for white. You can put queens everywhere if you want, which is kind of crazy. But and now I'm going to show you the different tools we have. Let's say, for example, it's white to move in this position. So of course we have attacked pieces. So what are the attacked pieces? So obviously the bishop's attacked. Well, technically it's not because it's a pin, but it doesn't take into account that. Just is there a pawn there? It takes into account this. And obviously we're threatening this pawn. Move highlighter. What the move highlighter does is it simply, if we highlight a piece or move a piece, it will show you what's a bad move and what's a good move. This is a bad capture, so it's red. This is a red capture, which I do need to fix. It shouldn't be red. This obviously a bad move, and this is a bad move. So it shows you kind of, it's just a way to prevent blunders. So don't move here, don't move here. Contested squares does similar things, but it basically shows if it's grey, then it's defended once. Well, it's defended equally the same amount. But the problem is if you move here, not defended at all, so you lose it. Same as here. Here it's defended by white, so you can move here. And if it's like, say if it's more white than black, it's a majority black, so it's defended more than by white. And same with black, so here. But you should always see what the piece is, because if it's, yeah, with a queen you always want to be careful. If you go into a white square, you've got to make sure it's just a queen defending it. Hanging pieces, pretty simple. Pieces that aren't defended. So anything that isn't defended will be marked in orange. White king moves shows possible king moves in white, and then black king moves, possible king moves for black. Very good for finding mates there. Absolute pins, so these are things where you can't, if you go next to it you have the information here. It shows when something can't move because of a pin on the king. And then relative pin, so here the bishop is pinning this pawn. So if you move here you lose the rook. So you have a double pin here. Knight forks, pretty self-explanatory when there's a fork for a knight. What it won't show you, however, is if it's actually possible to play a knight fork. There are some situations where it's not possible. White attack squares, so what are we attacking? Obviously it doesn't always work, because you can also do black defend or black attack squares, so black defend. Like what's defending what? What's attacking what? Can be a bit complicated if you put all the arrows on. It gets like chaotic if you do this though, honestly. Put all of the things on. It's like, what the hell am I looking at here? It's chaotic. You don't want to put all of them on, obviously. Of course, we have checks. So, what checks are there in their position? Black checks. What checks are there? Nothing. No checks. No checks for black. Pawn forks, fairly explanatory. So I can show you pawn forks. So say, for example, an opponent plays bishop here. Then we have a fork, pawn fork. So it shows you in yellow, pawn forks. Obviously, it doesn't always work, because sometimes, like, someone can take, but obviously it works here. The same thing with knight forks. It will show you like this. Basically, it will it looks for all the moves and sees where it will attack a king, a knight, or a rook at the same time. This here obviously doesn't work, so you have to calculate that yourself. So if it's yellow, probably don't go here. If it's red, yes. So it won't tell you literally everything. So that's it for the tools. They do work in, say for example, you go into different variations. You can see, as I say, if you want to play through this like King's Gambit position, with all the tools on, let's put all the tools on, for example. Let's put on hanging pieces and white checks, black checks. Obviously the black check on h4, which white doesn't stop. White has a check on f7, but doesn't really do anything here. So he checks. You can see here the rook is pinned, so this pawn can't take anything, but it's not really relevant in this position. Knight here attacks the pawn. This attacks the queen. Queen can check, but it does nothing here. There's also a pin, I guess. So the knight can't move. Say if the knight moves, then you lose the queen. So that's a free pawn. Takes, takes, takes. Bishop here. So yeah, it's useful just to see. You can see all the different things in the positions. And let me show you a quick tutorial. I'll just show you literally like, I don't know, a few minutes of one. So let's look at common opening traps, for example. So here you will learn some common opening traps. Sometimes you just need to learn what to play in certain positions. So I've covered the Fried Liver and the Stafford Gambit and Scholar's Mate in other tutorials, so we won't cover them here. We'll start with one of the most famous, which is Legal's Mate. Start with the starts with the Philidor's Defense. You can change the speed if you want, if this is going too slow. Black defends the e5 pawn with his pawn. Bishop c4. Bishop can also reach this from an Italian opening if black plays knight c6 first. Here comes a mistake. The bishop pins the knight to the queen. I have lots of tools on, I don't really need them here, but white questions the bishop immediately. If black takes, then white has to stop checkmate, but it's fine for black. So yeah, if he takes, then you take, threatening mate, but then you just play knight f6 and nothing happens. It's only slightly better for white. And if instead black moves the bishop back and maintains the pin, then he is walking right into the trap. This is a bad move because the bishop isn't defended, and white will have some big threats on f7. What do you think the best move is here? White can say, oh no, my queen, and take on e5. So you take on e5. If white takes the queen, then you get mate. It's checkmate in 2, so check. King moves down, and then checkmate. Let me take off knight forks. I don't need that on. White checks are useful though. The bishop and knight take all the king squares. The best possible variation for black is to go down a pawn. If knight takes bishop, then you have queen b5 check. Of course, I don't need all these tools on, to be honest, but they do help a lot. Okay, generally putting a knight with the bishop can be risky if the bishop can be defended. There can be similar situations like this. Let's say black pins the knight again here. White continues with bishop c4 attacking f7. So if black plays a random move, then you can sacrifice an f7. The king has to take, and then the knight can check the king, and there is a discovered attack on the bishop. Black can't castle and is down a pawn here. So this is just, there are a lot more than these. I think I go through like, I think there were like 5 or 6 opening traps I go through in this. But that's just an introduction to a tutorial. So I have loads of tutorials for like everything from basic moves to openings to tactics to middle game to end game, and I have some practice. I even have some duck chess variant or duck chess tutorials. In the tutorial section I also have a glossary, so if you want to look up like what certain moves, what certain terms mean in chess, you can look up here. So in Find the Move we have like 20 games from famous players. So I'll show you a Mikhail Tal game, for example. Let's show you this one. So this is the Candidates quarterfinal of 1965. Tal is playing against Lajos Portish. The game starts with the Caro-Kann defense. You can change these the speed if you want in settings. You have this move interval thing, which will change the amount of time between each move. You can also pause it between moves if you want. I'll put attack pieces on. The bishop pins the knight, and Tal kicks it with the bishop. He takes and white recaptures. They trade again. Black attacks the queen and it moves. But this allows a discovery attack and attacking the queen with the bishop, so it goes to g4. The bishop defends the g4 pawn, g7 pawn, sorry, g7 pawn. Tal kicks the knight. The knight attacks the bishop. Tal to play, try and find his move. So of course I know his move because I made these. He plays rook takes e6, check. A crazy rook sacrifice for a pawn. A risky move, but it catches Black's king in the center. How do you continue the attack? So you play queen takes, check. The obvious check, taking the pawn and attacking the king. Now, how do you bring another piece into the attack while creating a threat? Here the move is bishop f4, which is threatening bishop there, check, which is basically mate in this position. Bringing the bishop into the game and threatening bishop d6. Black defends the d6 square with a rook. Next move is hard to find. Well, the next move is very hard to see. It is a slow move that you wouldn't expect considering you have sacrificed a rook. Try and find it. So in this position, Tal plays c5, which looks very weird in this position, but basically if you look, the queen has no moves. The queen can go here. Queen can go here and get captured by the bishop. Queen can go here and be completely out of the game, and then basically Black's going to get mated. What is this move? Well, surprisingly, the queen doesn't have many squares. The only one is a5. But if the queen goes to a5, then it's forced mate in 7 moves. So rook e1, queen there, and you lose the queen. You have to give up the bishop. And then bishop sacrifice. Queen takes, and then mate with the rook. And finally checkmate. In the black gave up the queen for 2 bishops and the sacrifice rook, and it continued. So this is just a preview of a Tal game, because there are like 80 games of these. And of course I have information about how I made the game, how to use things, tutorials, stuff like that, and controls, question and answers. So one thing I have to show you is that I added it's kind of a meme I guess, but there's duck chess in this as a variant. But what I added was, so you play a move, you move the duck. I added was duck sounds. So if you click here, then you'll add duck sounds. So every time you move the piece and move the duck, it will hear this wah sound. Which obviously is very hard to keep a straight face when you hear this constantly, but it's there if you want to use it. I'd probably turn it off just because it distracts you, but anyway. Chess Tools is out now. If you want to buy it, let me know if you have any feedback or any features you'd like to see. I'm open to any suggestions, and thanks for watching.